What's up, guys? Micah Dogs here. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cool medicinal mushroom gummies. There's going to be a few supplies that you need. You need Agar. I have average gel strength. Probably firmer gel strength would be better. You need some regular old sugar. You can use different types of sugars. You need an ounce of your favorite medicinal mushrooms, some sort of scale, something that you can put a coffee filter in, and some cheesecloth or an old t-shirt or something. You're also going to need some sort of mold to pour the gummies into. I found these on Amazon. They've got 24 compartments, so if you use 28 grams of medicinal mushrooms, each one will have 1.16 grams, making 3 of them equal to 3.5 grams. So I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to use this, or you could use any other square kind of mold and just cut it up yourself with a knife. Alright, so to start, you take your 28 grams of medicinal mushrooms and grind them or pulverize them. I like to use these Ninja blenders. I can put a link in the description for one of these. Alright, nice and pulverized. That's just to increase the surface area. It's probably not too necessary. Alright, next you want about 220 milliliters of water. And go ahead and microwave that until it boils. Alright, once it's boiling, be a little bit careful, because if you shake it around it can overboil on your hand. But we're going to go ahead and pour it onto the mushrooms. And you want to mix that up a little bit and then let it sit for about 15-20 minutes. While that's allowing the active ingredients to be dissolved into the water, we can go ahead and prepare our filtering. So a good thing to do is wet down your filter before you filter your material so you don't lose as much being retained in the filter. Now this thing's actually designed for coffee, but it works well for any purpose. And if you are going to use one of these, I got a link in the description. Just make sure you keep the side with the extra fold on the side with the spout. Alright, next you want some cheesecloth or something else, because you're going to need to squeeze it and coffee filters break. So just take your cheesecloth and drape it in there. Alright, after a dab or two you can come back and dump this sludge into the fucking cheesecloth. Don't worry too much about getting everything, because we'll do a second rinse. Alright, once you get your slurry into this cheesecloth, you're going to get some drips coming out. But once those stop, you're gonna have to start squeezing it. I recommend wearing gloves for that. Alright. So just give it a little twist at the top so nothing comes out. And just lightly squeeze it. You don't want to push it too hard. Give it some twists. It's still quite hot at this point. But even with the cheesecloth, the coffee filter is starting to get clogged, so you can tell it's doing a lot of, it's still filtering a lot of stuff. Alright, once you've been twisting for a little bit, and it seems like not much more is coming out, we can go ahead and do that rinse step. It's been about 4 minutes for me of squeezing. Still has a lot of moisture, but we'll do a rinse. So I put a new coffee filter in, squeezed out the liquid in the old one, and weighed the amount of liquid we've extracted so far. It is 110 grams, and we want 220 grams of water at the end. So what I'll do now is weigh out 100 more grams of water, just warm water from the sink, and use it to rinse out this cup, and we'll do a second wash of our primary product. We'll add it in here, do a wash. You should be able to gather most of it back into suspension. And we take this, add the cheesecloth on. Remember, that's a new coffee filter in there. And then we'll just swirl it around a little bit and dump it on top. Should get most of it in there. And then that'll drain through. I like to let this second wash sit and gravity filtrate for a little bit. And then after 5 or 10 minutes, I'll come back and try to squeeze as much as I can out. Okay, this is going to be the final squeeze, so make sure you get it well squeezed. Don't go too quickly with the pressure, but you want to get as much as you can out. Next, you want to weigh out 5 or 6 grams of agar, 4 to 6 really, and then dump in your extraction. Should be 200 to 220 milliliters. And then what you want to do is add your agar powder to that and stir it while you're dissolving it with heat. And you want to continuously stir it when it's dissolving, otherwise it will clump up. Alright, here it is, basically pretty much dissolved. So what we're going to do is get 300 grams of sugar and just add that directly in. I like to add a little bit of orange concentrate just for a little bit of flavor. You can add a bunch of different flavorings to these. And a little bit of food coloring makes them a little bit more visually appealing. So once you've gotten your sugar melted in there and all your flavorings, just let it simmer for a little bit and continuously stir it so it doesn't clump up or burn to the bottom. Once it hangs down like that, it's ready to pour into the molds. So we'll go ahead and grab that mold. And what I like to do is I just like to fill up all of the middle compartments and let it spill over. And then once it's all filled, I take a spoon and I redistribute it, and I try to get it as evenly distributed as possible. And once it's done, just put it in the fridge. I put it in the freezer here because it's a little faster, but you don't want it to freeze all the way. What's up, guys? It's the next day. I decided just to let it sit. You know, they're nice and solidified now. They're going to be a little bit sticky. So what you want to do is get a piece of parchment paper. I don't have that, so I'm going to use some aluminum foil, which I'm going to wipe down with a bit of cooking oil. You don't need a lot, but just a little splash. Go ahead and wipe down all this tin foil. Alright, once you get your tin foil nice and oiled, it's as easy as popping them out of the mold. So I like these molds because you can just push the bottom and they fall right out. And then just arrange them so they're not touching each other. And this is basically your finished product. They're going to be pretty gummy at this stage. So what you want to do is let them sit out in open air, just at room temperature, for about a week. And what will happen is they form a crystallized hard sugar outside, and they'll still remain gummy on the inside, but they're pretty good. Here's an example of one that sat out for a little bit. You'll notice that it has this hard crunchy outside and it's still gummy on the inside. They taste really good.